Georgia, and NATO's unveiled new plans to bring the Republic of Georgia closer to the alliance, an issue that has long been a point of contention with Russia. Many Georgians sympathise with Ukraine in its fight against pro-Russian separatists in the east, and for many it reminds them of the events which led to Georgia's breakaway regions of Abkhazia and South Ossetia and the war it sparked between Russia and Georgia 6 years ago. From Tbilisi, Rehan Dmitry sent this report.
There is little love for Vladimir Putin in Georgia. Many here believe that they share with Ukraine the same struggle against Russia. Some activists have painted Ukrainian national colors over the Soviet hammer and sickle.
It is not conflict between Russia and Ukraine. It is the new version of Cold War. A few years ago, Georgia was in this position, and today is Ukraine. And so it is. We can understand what is this.
Georgia fought a brief war with Russia in 2008 over its breakaway region of South Ossetia. Now both South Ossetia and Georgia's another breakaway territory of Abkhazia are supported financially and militarily by Moscow.
Georgia's new government has been trying to reduce tensions and re-establish economic ties with Russia. Trade embargoes have been lifted by the Kremlin. But at the same time, the leadership here has been trying to bolster its relationship with the West.
In June, Georgia signed a trade and association agreement with the EU. But its long-standing ambition has been NATO membership. Georgia has been the largest non-NATO contributor to the ISAF mission in Afghanistan. This week in Wales, NATO will offer Georgia a new package, including the establishment of a military training centre. That would be welcome here, but it risks causing friction once again with Moscow. Rehan Dmitry, BBC News, Tbilisi.
Well, I'm joined now by the former Georgian President, Mikheil Saakashvili, from the Albanian capital, Tirana. This must be bringing back some pretty unpleasant memories for you, isn't it? Mr. Saakashvili, can you hear us?
I can hear you now.
Thank you. I'm just saying this must be bringing back some pretty unpleasant memories for you.
Yes. Well, first of all, I mean, of course, there are clear scenarios and clear parallels from what happened in Georgia and what happens in Ukraine. And I think what Putin is up to is very similar to what he was up to in Georgia, not only in 2008, but years before that, and even Putin's predecessors from FSB and military. He wants to inflict a military defeat on Ukraine. He wants to isolate those two regions. He wants to lead to Ukraine in economic meltdown through cutting off gas and taking away their export market, and then basically push on his peacekeepers, which we in Georgia used to call peacekeepers in terms of keeping peace here and peace there of the former empire. Actually, what he is trying to do is to kill off Ukrainian democracy, and his plans are very clear. You know, he's talking about taking Kiev because he thinks that, you know, it is mother of Russian cities. That's what Russian school teachers, children are learning at school. Of course, he might not directly militarily take Kiev, but he wants to take those regions and then force Ukrainians to surrender through military, through provocations, through economic pressures, through all kinds of manipulations. Exactly the same way how he proceeded towards us.
Okay, but we spoke in Maidan a few months ago when you were visiting after the overthrow of Yanukovych. But is the West and NATO being disingenuous by promising to help Ukraine when in the end there will be no military intervention to protect its territory?
No, I think the main idea is that Russia wants to kill the idea of Ukrainian democracy and any kind of Ukrainian success. Exactly the same way how they want to kill the success of Georgian reforms and Georgian democracy. So as a result, what we are seeing now is what we are seeing now is, this kind of reluctance of many people in the West in any way to act. But on the other side, West has lots of leverage. And of course, when President Obama speaks about, we will never surrender, by the way, he did some very strong statements in Tallinn today. But then when America speaks about the drawing red line between NATO's member state will defend, but then it looks like they are drawing red line, and it implies that Ukraine is kind of softer place. And the problem is that the West has lots of leverage. West has leverage to the economic one. Russia cannot defeat the West because the West finances Russia through buying its gas, through buying its oil, through banking transactions. So in fact, sanctions already work, but there are many sanctions that can be applied. Second, we need Charlie Wilsons of the world, the American congressman that gave weapons to Afghan rebels, and the body count really counts for Russia. Modern day Russia that already saw prosperity, that already saw got the taste of nicer life. They are not going to live with deteriorating economic conditions, and they are not going to live with Russian soldiers being killed in what is considered to be another Slavic nation that is very close to them. So having said all that, I think that President Poroshenko is not in position to, even if Putin tries to impose the deal, to give in, because even if he tries, which I do think he won't, Ukrainian public, this is a democracy, is not going to allow it. And I think we are going to see another showdown. So far, everything Putin has been doing is deception, maneuvers, deception, buying time, trying to appease the West. But there is lots of leverage West can apply. West can do block off their SWIFT transactions. West can block their banking, whole banking system. West can freeze their currency accounts. That's how Russia finances its military adventures. And West certainly should deliver training. I agree with Mr. Kassiano, should deliver precision weapons, which Ukrainians badly need. And they also and the whole end game of this is that, of course, West should create conditions for big change in Russia. West has all the leverages for that. And, by grabbing the pieces of foreign lands, basically Putin created precedent that, Russia, even territorial integrity of Russia is no longer secure because borders are up for grab in Europe. And that certainly creates long-term implications for the Russian Federation and its territorial integrity in the long run as well.
Very briefly, because we're running out of time. I mean, during your war in 2008, you've been friends with President Poroshenko a long time. He was making his billions as a sweet manufacturer whilst you were going through your... You can't hear us anymore. Can you hear us now? Mr. Saakashvili? No, I think Mr. Saakashvili, I'm afraid we've lost the line there, and apologies for some of the sound problems we had there. Also, in fact, we've just heard from President Hollande about the situation there, that he has suspended plans to deliver that warship to Russia amid those tensions over Ukraine. There had been a lot of concern amongst EU leaders about the French decision to go ahead with the delivery of a warship to Russia. Stay with us on the programme, because still ahead we have a panel of guests from Ukraine, America and Russia listening to this BBC News special. We'll be getting their reaction and analysis of the situation in Ukraine. Thanks for watching.